right, joining us now is Iranian journalist and activist Masih Alinejad. Masih, thank you so very much for joining us. You're there in New York, I understand. First of all, tell me, what is the state of women's rights in Iran at this very moment?
Thank you so much for having me, first of all, and for good pronunciation of my name. Because a lot of people butcher my name. So I have to say that the situation of women in Iran actually hasn't changed. And a lot of women right now getting beaten up by the morality police in the streets, and women actually are not still allowed to sing solo in 21st century. I just published a video of a woman singing in the streets of Tehran beautifully and being harassed by morality police. And you can actually check the hashtag "My camera is my weapon." It's just showing you the daily life of Iranian women in 21st century in Iran, that women are not still allowed to choose what they want to wear. Women are not actually allowed to be their true self. But what you see actually through official media is only, showing that, Ibrahim Raisi chose one of the women for his cabinet. But I'm going to tell you that this is like a window trying to show off to the Western media and other media around the world, saying that, look, even Ibrahim Raisi choosing women. So this is actually, to me, when actually I was listening to what you said about Ibrahim Raisi choose NC Ali for his cabinet, it's like choosing an astronaut in charge for fire. And I have to say that a lot of women are still pushing back the boundaries within the society. More than 50 women are in prison right now that I'm talking to you.
Yeah, it's shocking. And tell me, what really can we expect under this new appointment? Will she make things better or worse for women living in the country there?
I'm going to be honest with you. When the Islamic Republic is in power, nothing going to change, because a lot of people might say that in the West, we have reformist, moderate, and we have conservative. But when it comes to women's rights, there's not a huge difference. It has been 42 years, still women are fighting for their basic rights. Imagine both of, me and you, both of us. If we go to Iran, to our beautiful country, if we work together, we have to change our appearance. We have to be someone else. You might read in the Western media that, but when the moderate president is in power, you can show off your hair, you can participate in sports, or even right now, the women, the footballists, they're celebrating. That's true. They are fighting back to the regime, and they are fighting to actually gain their rights back. But it's still, they're actually fighting to choose what they want to wear. If you say that I don't want to wear my hijab from the age of 7, you won't be able to get an education. You won't be able to go to school. You see what Taliban has been doing right now? This is what we have been suffering for 42 years. So for me, doesn't matter. Ibrahim Raisi is in power. Hassan Rouhani is in power, Khatami is in power, still women are second-class citizens in Iran.
Yeah, and we've all seen these viral videos of these women taking to the streets, daring to remove their head coverings and being assaulted by these people patrolling the streets. Tell me, many are saying that having a woman in Raisi's government could at least be a positive sign. Is that the case at all?
It is not. It is not. Look, Ibrahim Raisi, first of all, is the one who ordered the executions of 5,000 people. When Ibrahim Raisi was in power, there were 50 women got arrested just because of simply protesting for their basic rights. When he was in power, 1,500 people got killed in 3 days in Iran protests, and their families, their mothers, who actually asked simply, who killed my son, who killed my daughters, they got arrested too. So now people are telling us, because Ibrahim Raisi picked up a woman, so we have to be hopeful. No, I'm going to tell you who is that woman. Actually, that woman is one of the anti-women. She believes that women should stay behind the curtain. She is the one actually being used to show off the rest of the world that we respect women's rights. This is exactly what actually, I'm going to tell you, what the United Nations, United Nations picked the Islamic Republic for its top bodies to monitor women's rights around the world. And I was like, wait a minute, you actually choosing ISIS or Taliban to monitor human rights around the world? And people were saying that, no, you're too radical because now women are in the top like ministers in Iran. That's not true, because vice president in Iran is not, receiving the approval from Iranian parliament. It's someone that Ibrahim Raisi or Rouhani picked them up to actually, as I told you, showing the rest of the world that, yes, we respect women's rights. But these are anti-women. I met actually the vice president of Hassan Rouhani in the United Nations. Simple question that I asked was this: you're walking here with your long chador, with your hijab. Would you allow me to be my true self and walk in my own country? The answer is no. So that is why, for us, millions of women in Iran, doesn't matter if Ibrahim Raisi or Hassan Rouhani pick up a woman as a vice president. Those vice presidents coming to the United Nations to oppress women and to keep us silent.
So, Masih, tell me, how do you fight for women's rights in Iran? Is there any point whatsoever?
That's a very good question. The only way that we can win the battle, because there is a battle, there is a daily war between the regime, Iranian people. There is a war between two lifestyles. We want to have, our normal life, like the rest of the world. We want to get rid of dictatorship. We want to dance. We want to have, we want to choose our own lifestyle. We want to be free to express ourselves. And there is another lifestyle. The regime wants us to follow the Islamic rules, the Islamic dress code, the Islamic lifestyle. And we don't want that. So the only way that we can win the battle, first, through civil disobedience. And that is why every day you hear the voice of Iranian people, the voice of the mothers who are risking their lives and saying that we don't want the Islamic Republic. Second, we want the rest of the world, especially the European Union, the American government, the international community. Instead of shaking the hands of the oppressors, you have to recognize the civil society. If you're really looking for stability in the region, you cannot just go after one of the most unstable regime and negotiate with them without considering the civil society, without considering human rights activists and freedom fighters within the society. Right now that I'm talking to you, only in 1 week, there were 2 prisoners got killed in Iran prison. No one is talking about them. In the West, people just talking about nuclear deal. But in Iran, people are talking about how they can get rid of the Islamic Republic.
Masih Alinejad, everything you've just said is so important, and it's been such a pleasure to have you on. Thank you very much and have a great evening.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure.